Lead the way.
All right, Coach. Some of the people are going to want to always hear about is the quarterbacks. How's Ellaby doing? How's that battle for the second string spot going?
Caleb's doing great. I mean, he had one rough day, bounced back, has been solid, making good decisions, dealing the ball, using a lot of different receivers and running backs. I've been proud of the way he's playing. The other two, it's a battle. I mean, it's going to go into probably in the next week. We got about a week left of camp, and they've gone back and forth, and even young Marion's done some really good things. So we're going to continue as we finish camp here. We're going to make sure we get Caleb's arm back, feeling really healthy, and we're going to make sure the other two guys get a little bit more reps with the ones and twos, so we can kind of make that decision heading into the first game.
I saw Mike Caliendo in street clothes today using a scooter to keep weight off his foot. What's the nature of that injury?
Yeah, it's like a sprain in the foot. I mean, he's been playing for such a long time that we're being extremely cautious with it. He probably could have gone today if we needed him to, but we're just being smart, being safe with it. I expect him to be back. It's when we want him back. He's played for 4 or 5 years now, so it's about just giving him the most amount of time to feel better again. But it's a minor injury that here late in camp, it's smart to just our ones didn't go much today. I mean, they got some reps and then I got them out because today was like our last scrimmage probably. So, but yeah, he'll be fine.
Another veteran who's missed some time here in camp, Brett Borski.
Yeah.
Where's he at in rehab this injury, and how much does this missed time in camp affect him?
A guy that started for 2 years doesn't really affect him much. We got to get him back in game shape. That's going to be the biggest thing. And he today is going to run for the first time, not out here, but we're going to start getting him back into shape. He's had some rest. He's been doing rehab, but we're really going to crank up the rehab. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next week. He's been working hard, been pushing it. We're hoping to get him back. That one I'm not sure about, but I know today, the 20th, is when he was taking the next step, and we'll see how that goes.
You've had about a week now where you've brought in the officiating crew.
Yeah.
How's that been going? How much has that been affecting sort of the play out there?
It's good. I mean, there's a lot of trash talking on every football field between that was a pass interference and that was not, and it definitely clears up some of that because we have officials out there, and they provide great insight for our players on when something is called, pass interference, holding, anything like that, why it's called, just so our kids can continue to be smarter football players. And even the situation here at the end when we're doing a lot of end of game situations, our running back handed the ball to the wrong official. And that cost us time offensively. You should hand the ball to the umpire inside of 2 minutes. He handed it to the side judge threw it to the umpire dropped it. Took about 4 or 5 seconds for him to get it set, and we lost the play out of that, So that's why you do these things, because it's in practice we have manager with 2 balls. So as soon as one ends, we put the other one down and we try to play fast. But to do a real life situations has been really good for us.
And then, last time we talked a week ago, you said you were just starting to think about the depth chart. This week there'd be a lot of movement. How close is that to getting finalized?
Probably next Monday, Tuesday. We have another big day tomorrow, and then obviously Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are like the last 3 days. Next Wednesday and Thursday we'll turn the page to game 1. So they got a couple more days. Everything's in. We can run. No matter where we're on the field, we practice that situation. So now this is where the freshmen or the redshirt freshmen and the sophomores really have a chance to move on the depth chart in the next week, half a week, and we got a couple battles going on out there. It'll be fun to watch.
So, like you mentioned, the go turn page really to week 1 until next week. Has the coaching staff started thinking all about Michigan?
Oh yeah, we've done that all summer. We spent about 2-3 weeks on each of our first 4 opponents. Not being on the road this spring made that even easier than ever before. So in the month of April and May, when our kids were done with school and just doing summer school, we spent a lot of time working out. So we've already spent Jay Hall. We spent a lot of time getting ready for them. So we'll get back to them next Wednesday, but we already have pages and pages of notes and a preliminary game plan. And it's important to not get too deep into those game plans, because you kind of got to get out here and see what we're doing really well, because you want to do what you do well. So yeah, we're ready to turn that page. There's not enough time during camp to all of a sudden spend a week studying them, so we always do it before we even start camp.
Well, you mentioned, with moving Caliendo to centers, he's had experience taking those snaps in practice. Who's getting sort of those looks this year in case something happens to Mike?
Really, I mean, Gideon, Gideon is, I mean, he's fighting for the guard spot, but he's also came in as a center, you know. So he's the one right now that's been in there. And he's been doing Kyle Arnaldi is another guy who was a redshirt freshman who's been our two. So those are the two, you know, that, and we have a third guy that can do it. But I would guess it'd be Gideon first, maybe Arnaldi if Gideon wins the guard job, depending on, you know, who he thinks the five best. That's the great thing about having a bunch of smart offensive linemen is most of them can play. I mean, shoot, French could go play center if we needed him to, if we thought our next tackle in was the best player to go, you know. So one of the best parts about having an O-line like we do is the flexibility of figuring out who's the next best in and shuffling the pieces around a little bit.
Another thing you had mentioned was something you'd be looking for this week is especially the young players, how they respond to the increased contact. Has anyone stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, Zahir, our young running back, has done a really good job. I mean, the game's not too fast for him. He's physical enough to block. He's run the ball well. So I've been proud with his just overall his ability to be ready to play at this level. I mean, he's ready, you know. So it's good to have depth in that room. We have a great running back room anyway, but he's definitely ready if we need him to on special teams. And then Henry has been doing a great job wide receiver wise, but so's Malik, you know. So we have some young kids that are starting to they're just starting to show it now. It's like every freshman. I remember when we had, you know, Bird, Jaden Reed, it was like about this time where he calmed down, the game slowed down, and he started learning a little bit of technique from his coaches, and he looks like a new guy. So it was fun that last drive, watching the threes go, watching Malik get out and run around a little bit. And so the young wideout crew's pretty talented, and I'm pretty happy about them. And I'd say the third group would probably be our young D linemen. They're big, they're thick, they're stout, they're learning, they're getting better. To have a little bit of depth there, guys that we think are ready to play if we need them, is huge. So it's been a good, those three spots, the running back spot, the wideout spot, and the D-line spot, those kids are ready if we need them, and that's good for a long season, you know.